Okay, I'm going to start. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Montgomery County Chamber's Economic Development Committee. I am Brian Levine. I'm Vice President of Government Affairs for the Chamber. And as we do for all of our committee meetings, please note that we are recording this meeting. This committee meets several times a year, usually on the first Wednesday of most months. And our next meeting we're very excited about. On June 12th, we have Ken Hartman-Espada, who is the fairly new, the new Assistant Chief Administrative Officer for County Executive Mark Elrich. Ken's portfolio is everything economic development and business related. And for those who work closely with Jake Weissman, he is the new Jake. Probably won't say that next month on the call, but he is the new Jake. He is the new Assistant Chief Administrative Officer for Economic Development. So we're excited about that, to hear what they have cooking. And before we begin, I think we should go around the virtual room and introduce ourselves. So again, Brian Levine with the Chamber. We'll skip the speakers and the chair. Ashley, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'll go around the room and ask everyone else to introduce themselves as well.
Good morning, everybody. Ashley Bagwell with Harris, Jones & Malone.
George
Hawley, Maryland Department of Labor, Wheaton office.
Mr. Frick.
Good morning, everybody. Bill Frick. Do my own private practice in law and lobbying.
Andy.
Andy Bridge, What's Up Promotions.
Hey, Gary. Great to see you, Gary.
Good morning. Gary Unterberg with Rogers Consulting.
Next, we'll do one of our other committees, our Legislative Affairs Committee. We have our chair and our co-chair on. Our chair is Leslie. Go ahead, Leslie.
Good morning, everybody. Leslie Weber with Suburban Hospital. I have one of those unstable internet messages, so I'm going to stay off camera if I can. Nice to see you, though.
Thank you, Leslie. Bill?
Good morning, Bill Wishman with County Department. It's really nice to have you on the spot today.
Bill also has an unstable connection or something. That Bill Wishman from Kaiser Permanente. And like I said, he is co-chair of our Legislative Affairs Committee. Mel?
Mel Toll with the Lead Development Group in Silver Spring. Glad to see you.
Good to see you. Going in order here on my screen, Brian Z.
Hi, Brian Zernhout. I'm with Cyquint. We're a software support company. We do a lot of work for the county.
Thank you, Brian. Our Chair Emeritus, Lowell Yoder. Lowell?
Hi, Lowell Yoder, M&T Bank.
Feezy, good morning.
Good morning. Feezy Halim, Montgomery College Workforce Development and Continuing Education, and a Business Solutions Manager.
And Tammy?
Good morning, Tammy Watkins with Comcast.
Good morning. Sue Ann?
Good morning, Sue Ann Beaumont with Soltes.
Jay?
Yeah, this is Jay Brinson with D.R. Horton.
Thank you, Jay. Board member, William Ellis. Will?
Hey, good morning. William Ellis, EPCO.
And then last but not least, Dr. Greenfield.
Hello, good morning. I'm Steve Greenfield, Vice President for Workforce Development for Montgomery College.
And with that, I think, did we not hear from anyone? I think we're good. Okay, we will have opportunities for Q&A. Carlos, it's up to you and your team. But I think if anyone has any immediate questions, please put them in the chat box, and I think we'll save some time at the end for some dialogue. And with that, let's get this meeting going. I want to introduce our committee chair, that is Ann Kadenian from Universities of Shady Grove, Executive Director, University of Shady Grove. Ann, take it away.
Thank you, Brian, and good morning, everyone. It's great to have you all here. And in a minute, I'll introduce our guests, Carlos and Dory. I want to say a little bit about what we want to do today. We're going to be hearing about Viva White Oak. This is a Montgomery County development, 300 acres, 7 million square feet of commercial development, and 5,000 residential units are planned. And the goal is that this will be a world-class life sciences center, commercial space, research, development, lab buildings, housing, and other amenities located very near to the FDA as well. And so we're going to learn all about this really fascinating partnership, public-private working together, Viva White Oak. And we're going to hear from an expert panel. We're going to hear today from Carlos Bonner, who is the Senior Managing Director of MCB White Oak Developer and MCB Real Estate, and also from Dory Farley, who is the Development Associate with MCB Real Estate. So with that, I've heard some of this presentation before. It is very exciting, the ambitious scope and the promise of this. So we're really excited to learn more, Carlos and Dory, and take it away if you want to present, and then I'm sure we'll have questions and conversation after that.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Brian. And again, I'm Carlos Bonner with MCB, executive in charge of the Viva White Oak project. And we're very happy to be here with you today to talk a little bit about not just the project, but about MCB and where we are in the process and our timeline. And we hope that this isn't the last time we get to come before you. We would love the opportunity at any given moment in time to come back and talk about the project. As Ann saying, it's very ambitious, and it's going to be, in some immediate aspects coming about, but then it's still a very long-term project. So then I have with me Dory Farley, who is our development associate, working with me on the project of some of the day-to-day activities. So Dory, if you want to kick us off with the next slide. Just to give you a little facts about the project, it's 280 acres approximately, and it's currently entitled for 12 million square feet. It's, for those of you who don't know, but I'm pretty sure most of you know, is right adjacent to the FDA. And this blue shaded area there on the screen gives its exact location and configuration. So right off of 29 and Tech Road and Sherry Hill. And so, as you know already, there is already a cluster of activity there between retail and housing and a lot of lifestyle activities and an adjacency to the FDA. And our project, is focusing on a lot of key aspects of it. And one of the key aspects is the planning of it right now and creating this master plan community. Over time, we think we'll bring great economic drivers to bring in some local jobs to the area on doing not just the construction phase, but also in the long-term phase. So just doing construction right now in just our early analysis, that it equates to about over 10,000 jobs, and indirect workers about another 6,000. And then when you talk about construction workers as a whole, that's another over 10,000. So roughly right around 25 to 30,000 jobs that we have just in the initial stage of the project. And that's to go along with what's already there. And, the FDA has about 9,500 employees on staff. In today's market with all the turmoil from the pandemic, I think they are about 3,000 employees a week. I could be fact checked on that, but I believe that's where they are. And then the Adventist Hospital Healthcare, the White Oak Medical Health Center, they have about 1,300 employees. And so, it could be a very, very good economic driver for employment. Dory, you want to go to the next slide? Just a little bit about MCB. We are headquarters in Baltimore, so we consider ourselves local to the DMV, local to Maryland, but we are a national company. We, about $3 billion of assets under management, and we have about 14 million square feet of owned real estate right now, commercial real estate, and 4 million square feet of real estate under construction right now. And our bread and butter, and over 100 employees. And our bread and butter is grocery anchored retail centers with a mixed use component to incorporate multifamily as well as medical office buildings. And on the screen there is just some of the projects in various areas around the country that we are heavily focused on the East Coast though, but we do have satellite offices in Chicago where our life science division is headquarters and also an office in LA. So we're still expanding even to this day. Our pipeline is growing in a lot of our strategic initiatives. But as you can see, one of
I'm going to jump in. It sounds like he might be having some connection issues. Okay, I'm seeing some head nods. He was probably just about to mention that these are just examples of mixed use communities. We're going to bring these expertise to Viva White Oak. You'll see all of these are grocery anchored. The Rotunda actually has the #1 Moms chain in all of Moms in all their locations, which is pretty cool. And now we'll go back to Viva White Oak a bit and we will talk about the schedule. Right now, we are in the entitlements section of the schedule. We are looking to break ground next year, which is really exciting. The initial scope of this construction is going to be the roads and the infrastructure. Right now, what currently exists, which I'm sure many of you are aware, is FDA Boulevard. It's what connects the back entrance of FDA to Cherry Hill. What you see is actually a temporary road, and so that will need to get ripped up. We are redoing FDA Boulevard and another road, which we're calling Viva White Oak Way, that will connect FDA, the back entrance of FDA, all the way up to Cherry Hill.
And so I'm sorry about that, but I'm back in. That's the key component for us right now as we're in our strategic plan is being able to start in 2025. Early start, target start date is in April of 2025 with the outside start date of October of 2025. And where we are right now, as Dory was touched upon, is in the entitlements phase and all the aspects of working with Montgomery County to be able to receive permits in late March to start the 1st of April or sometime in between April and October. And, you know, our strategic approach and what's on the screen is our current vision and concept. This isn't the final plan that we know we will deliver to the market, but this is our initial concept of how we envision mapping out the overall site. Key to us is the retail town center and the retail with residential, multifamily residential, and bringing that off of Cherry Hill, if you see that on the screen. And that plays upon what's already existing with the Riderwood and the existing neighborhoods along Cherry Hill, as well as the existing retail. So that corridor leads itself to be right aligned to bringing in a retail town center. And then interspersing multifamily in that will bring a lot of the activity from into that quadrant of the site. And then as you go across the bridge in the open space, and we'll be preserving that green space, that's when we start to head into our commercial center, where we would have life sciences campus. And right now we think we could do up to 2 million square feet of life science, even though it's entitled for roughly 6 million. We're looking at that around 2 million square feet, but could grow as we're continuing to study and being out in the market talking to different life science end users. We do see a possibility that could grow, but on a conservative basis, we're planning for right around 2 million square feet. And then we have a mixed use components to bring in additional multifamily, could be more office, but that's also part of our process to figure that out. One of the key aspects to this is that we will be delivering a new school as well as an adjacent active park that will complement the school, but also be an amenity to the community. And we see that also there is a lot of demand for housing, and housing at a key price point that we can consider affordable with a lower A, not the big A. And that is at a price point that will meet working class families, but be in a very nice and rich community. And so we what you see on the screen, the townhomes towards the north end of the site. We also have the capabilities to do hotel in this, and we're looking at some hotel options and senior living options as well. Dory, you want to go to the next slide? One of the key things about the magnitude of the site is that it can fit, if you see on the screen, just on a massing, downtown Crown can fit in just to that northeast quadrant. Pike and Rose can fit into a 25-acre site in this quadrant, as well as one Loudoun, all still being along FDA Boulevard, and we still have capacity for more master plan development of that. So this is building potentially a mini city in the East County of Montgomery County, east portion of Montgomery County. So this just gives you a glimpse of the magnitude and all of the different aspects we can bring to this one area. And so what we have here is just the bird's eye view. So looking into the future, you know, I'm very ambitious. I think this could be as soon as, you know, a 10-year total build out, but realistic.
So it's about a 10-year total build out. That entails a lot of different asset classes that we touched on. And so in terms of phasing for the schedule, we will be starting with the retail town center that Carlos mentioned right off Cherry Hill. And concurrently with that, the residential townhomes up in the northeast quadrant will also go vertical at the same time as the retail. After that, we'll kind of work our way into the center, and that's where our life science is located. Life science buildings, just practicality of a life science lab space, wet and dry, they take a long time to build compared to residential homes and retail. So those are what's really making this a 10 to 15 year long project. So while we say 10 to 15 years, retail and residential is going to be more like 5 to 10. In addition to that, I can talk a little bit more detail about the retail town center. Our overall goal and strategic here is health and wellness. And that's the driver we're using in terms of what tenant mix and what merchandising plan we want here. What I mean by that is we're going after groceries, health fitness centers, large fitness centers, a mix of national but also local food users. We really want to bring in some local restaurants. It gives it a really great mix, this center, and it's great for the economy. And to have that local food service, some quick service, a lot of sit down, some really nice restaurants here. And so that's the overall goal for the retail portion of the town center. I don't know if Carlos was able to jump back on after the internet, but the last slide we have here is just some overall demographics of this area. Really what this shows is that the demographics of this area are really strong. And we're presenting this to retailers to get them excited about this site. And it's working, they are. The numbers are there, the support in terms of the economic drivers are there to really make Viva White Oak a strong driver for the eastern portion of Montgomery County. So that's why we have this slide in here to just show how strong it already is. And we want to just continue that strength and the growth that it already has today.
Yeah, I'm back on. I apologize. One fix I do have is to just keep my camera off. So if you don't mind, I'll do that so I don't fade out. But as Dory said, the demographics in this area are strong. And that's the key thing that we're educating all of the retailers on, and as well as some of the life science users, of what the population is and what the income levels. If you look at the average income within just a mile is 116,000. And this is, I believe, is 2021 data. And then within 3 miles, 130, and 5 miles. And the site being a regional draw and pull, those are significant incomes and population that really hits the numbers for a lot of those retailers. And as you know, retailers on the grocery and the restaurants, they plan 4 years out, 3 to 4 years out of making commitments, because that's aligns to their timing for their decision making and their execution plan. So we see ourselves perfectly in line with that for where we are. And our marketing strategy right now is to get out, be very proactive, and with our key relationships, go into some key health-focused retailers, as Dory was explaining, to tell them the story to get those early commitments. And we've been getting some great responses once we get to educating everyone on what's already existing in this area of Montgomery County. And one thing we're also very keen on as well is because of how much capacity we have and how this could be a very dynamic community. We have presented our plan to Montgomery College for them to consider us as an option as they make their decision. So, we are overall very excited about having this opportunity to develop this project in East County, Montgomery County. So with that, we can open up to any questions.
I can start.
Yes.
Be great, Tim.
Tammy Watkins with Comcast. We actually have corporate offices in the White Oak area. It looks like based on your maps, they're slightly north from the area that's going to be impacted by development. And one of the things that we're just mindful of, and I'm not sure if we're at the state where anybody can speak to it, is, we do operate a small fleet from our offices there. These are techs that are out doing installs, doing repairs, picking up down lines. And my question is, even though we are slightly north, it doesn't look like we're going to be impacted, at least by this phase. Is there any awareness or sensitivity to some of the more the businesses that are located in this area that do manage small fleets? Thinking about parking, thinking about accessibility for fleet vehicles, is that a thought?
For fleet vehicles, Tammy, I just want to make sure, I'm sorry, my internet was jumping.
Yeah.
The question is, where have we considered having capacity for fleet vehicles?
Yeah.
In our master plan?
Yes.
Well, and as far as having them have access to do their work, or
to park mostly. If you're looking at your map, we are slightly north, just literally on the others. We're on Tech Road.
Yes.
So we're certainly above this, but we do have about 30 or 40 trucks that we maintain at that site. And so, I'm sure we'll be fine. They are located on private property, but just wanted to know if anywhere in the master plan spoke to fleet vehicle accessibility.
Well, the roads will be designed for accessibility for service trucks for the entire community, and your fleet trucks should fit within those capacities. So, deliveries, both on the retail side and those vehicles, and with the residential service trucks being able to access the streets and navigate through the neighborhood. So the road networks are being considered for those type of vehicles. One of the key things that we as MCB appreciate, Montgomery County is really focused on street calming aspects and not just us delivering a pass-through street from Cherry Hill to Tech Road. And so we don't have any detailed slides, but one of the things in our road sections is a median that we'll have some landscaping to it, sidewalks, bike lanes, and I believe it's 2 lanes on both sides that allow the proper flow of traffic, but also street calming aspects for pedestrians. And so it's one of the things I'm really glad to be involved with Montgomery County in those capacities. That is a lot of thoughtful conversation around that, so that because we're delivering the city of the future, and how do we bring what's current demand to the forefront 4 years from now when this thing is hopefully fully built out on our ambitious level, but thinking about all of those aspects as well. So, but fleet trucks, service trucks are part of our consideration when we're talking about the roads and accessibility.
And just the last comment that I'll make is I can offer this group, because of course we're amongst friends. We are relocating offices from Baltimore to White Oak. And one of the things that we anticipate is just more of an uptick in our employees coming to White Oak. And so we will need services like hotels and restaurants and those amenities. So we're really excited about that possibility. So hopefully we can get a copy of the presentation after today. So that way I can just socialize internally as we're thinking about our own accommodations for employees returning to work. So thank you very much. This was great information.
And I would say that is music to our ears to hear that you are relocating employees to this area, because that's a big thing. And maybe we could follow up with you as well to get some of that data, because that would be helpful data to have when we're out talking to the retailers, because daytime users, office users, is a key component to having successful retail, especially in the restaurant. They don't want to just rely solely on nighttime dinner traffic, but restaurants that could actually have early morning breakfast menus and lunch menus, we want to go out to them as well. And so we'd love to follow up with you on getting some of those demographics and information.
And just so everyone knows, this presentation is circulated in the chat right now. So you're able to pull it and save it down for yourself.
Hi, Carlos. This is Steve Greenfield. I just want to say that the growth of Viva White Oak is music to our ears at Montgomery College, because bringing hospitality and bio and bringing retail to that area is just going to enhance our opportunities for our students. As you know, we just opened our new East County Center, a ribbon cutting a couple of weeks ago, and we've already begun to bring health sciences courses, technology courses, and other kinds of courses. We can target courses and programs that we bring to East County to make sure we're meeting the talent needs of Viva White Oak as it grows. So this is just a golden opportunity for Montgomery College, and we look forward to partnering.
And Steve, yes, we are following your growth, and we're very excited that you've opened up your new East County Center. Congratulations on the groundbreaking back on a few weeks ago. And the curriculum that you are putting in place in this area is also very attractive to those life science companies, because one of the key things, as you know, is their access to talent and utilizing that talent in their day-to-day research and development. And having Montgomery College with that focus nearby, not even hopefully maybe even adjacent one day, it will be an even greater attractor, as well as having the University of Maryland in proximity and all of their growth there. It just brings a new life and view of this whole area in our project. So we are very excited to be, like I said, adjacent to you, located close to you, if not one day adjacent.
Thank you.
Hey, Carlos, this is Jay with D.R. Horton. Just curious where you guys are with respect to the residential entitlements and where you are in the process of selecting partners or builders to help you out with that.
Good morning, Jay. Right now we are preparing to submit for our sketch plan and preliminary plan in mid-May, knock on wood here, which will start our official entitlements process to get to permits. And our projections are, knock on wood, that we will be able to manage that process to have first permits in April. And so with our first permits, what that'll allow us to do is all of the horizontal construction, which is your site grading, infrastructure installation, road networks, your public roads, as well as the reforestation aspects. And our current schedule anticipate that being about from start mobilization, about a 24 to 27 month time period. And our goal there is, depending on early commitments, we could start on vertical pieces towards the latter part of that schedule, such that we will always have a continuous process there. And maybe even with some luck, knock on wood, we can have some of the vertical components in place by the time we finish the last public road aspects. And so as far as partnering, we have not committed to any partners. We are actively taking meetings and calls, and so about partnership opportunities. And so, happy to talk to you and anyone else from DR Horton about those opportunities. And, so we're very much open to that. But that's our overall schedule right now.
Sounds good. I'll shoot you a note in the chat with my contact information. I think my colleague Dave Lazis may have reached out to you as well.
He has.
Great. Sounds good.
George Hawley from Maryland Department of Labor had a question. George, do you want to ask it or do you want me to read it? Where are you?
You can read it, Brian.
Okay. George from Department of Labor says, once you develop the project with job openings for the project, the Department of Labor, Veterans Services may have veterans interested in those positions. Carlos, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about that or if you had any thoughts.
George, we are actively working through our employment plan. Like I said earlier, we do see there are opportunities for employment. We want to, good aspect to this is the regional employment base is fairly strong right now, and the opportunities for individuals at all different pay scales and levels. Veterans are a key component of that, and so we would love to talk to you about the accessibility to talking about the project amongst that subgroup, because we do see there are going to be opportunities that could be targeted to that group.
Carlos, in the presentation that you and Dory shared, you highlighted a few examples of other projects that were primarily anchored by grocery stores, food service provision, and I think you are highlighting very successful projects. This is the scale and scope of this is just enormous and long timeline. You've referenced talking with some retailers and people interested. It seems like the big variable in this, although you're right next to the FDA and you'll be right next to Montgomery College as well, but still the life sciences, filling that life science space and the time and the commitment to build those labs and the variability in just biotech more generally. How do you factor in the variability, the long-term nature of this project? Do you find early partners in this? Is it too early to think about partners in the life sciences? How do you go about addressing some of that risk and that variability in such a long-term project?
A great question, Ann. It's you have to have a real strategic focus. And for us, what is the things that are going to attract life sciences to want to be at the area? And that's why we see having the retail town center in place and having those services in place, grocery anchored, is a key driver in the restaurants, because those workers need a place to go, during lunch, late if they're out R&D. And so the business decision makers for these life sciences group, what we're finding is the proximity for neighborhood amenities as well as regional accessibility. No secret, this site, even though it's kind of tucked away off of 29, but being adjacent to FDA is a big plus for those types of groups, right? And it's their business practices with the FDA. If you saw in that master plan, the life sciences, the reason why it's strategically placed where it is because it comes off of the second entrance into the FDA. So it's almost like if you're located here, if you can get through their security gate, you have a direct access to the FDA. But then, the proximity to now Montgomery College and University of Maryland in the talent pool, and then having the residential options, be it multifamily at different price points, be it the single family townhomes at different price points. It's also going to be an attractor. So we're cutting down on commuting costs. We're looking at also how bus can travel, the BRT and ride on buses can come through the site to also give accessibility throughout the region. But also, if you really look at our site on a ring study, proximity to all three airports is pretty good, right? You can fly in and out of Baltimore Airport and be in site within 30 minutes. Reagan National or even Dulles about, I got to go back and look, but I think they are within an hour as well. And so you have all of these different components. Now, that's the benefit of being in the DMV overall, that everyone gets to share in all of these amenities. And with the right strategic plan, even though we're competing on some level, we're all also supporting each other, because it's success in one area happens, it also happens in other areas. If anyone attended the Bio Life Science Conference last week, that was a key component that resonated with me that I just heard, that the regionality of the DMV, but Montgomery County being the hub with already an existing infrastructure, be it the #3 life science center in the U.S. right now, right behind New York and San Francisco, is tremendous. And so we really feel we're out talking to people about that aspect of what's already existing and how we can grow upon that. And so I do see that we have in our marketing how this could be a great region for life sciences, which is already exists, but how specific attributes to our site would make it an even greater location for some of these life science companies. And our team is starting to get a lot of good calls, and that message is getting out. And so I think also the message that this being a real master plan community, and with all the accessibility that it's going to have to the educational centers, the retail and the housing, is also a great attractor, as well as we can't hide being right next to the FDA campus.
Awesome, thank you. I see Terrence has his hand up. Terrence?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Terrence Hill, I'm Reentry Navigator for Maryland Department of Labor. I will share office space with George, and I heard the comment about streamlining the process for applicants. So I'm advocating for a second chance for returning citizens, and I would like to be included on that email for a process that pre-screen applicants and to be able to use their talent in this operation. So if you can include me on that email, I greatly appreciate it. I'll put my email in the chat.
We definitely will, Terrence. And having worked with Second Chance program in the past on another development, I understand, and we could definitely work with you and your organization in that aspect.
Will, you had a question?
Yeah, hey, how you doing? William Ellis, Pepco. Just quickly, could you talk about any of the environmental aspects that you have slated with this property? Tree canopies, solar, battery storage, resiliency hubs, any of those aspects have you thought through within this development?
So it's a great question, William. We are thinking through all of those tree canopies. Like I said, we're working with Montgomery County on the streetscape. And in our strategic plan is all of the sustainable energy components. We're in the process now of starting to put together an RFP to interview a couple of sustainability consultants to help with that. I've had a couple of meetings. But we see this as an opportunity, being that it is it's a blank slate, for the current land. how can we design into renewable energy resiliencies in that it's the city of the future, right? And with demand loads and all of the attributes of the changing in energy usage, the sources of energy usage, but also being very mindful of the environment. And key component to us is how we map that out. That is not an afterthought, that the infrastructure is put in place, and so that in certain instances it's a plug and play, but also a utilization component of it too. And so we're in that process and would love to work with Pepco and all of the other regional utility companies on those various aspects.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thoughts?
Rochelle, you wanna read your comment? That's a great suggestion.
Hi, good morning, everybody. No, just to kind of piggyback off of the sustainability question, we've been working a lot with Montgomery County Green Bank. They're located in Rockville, but they have presented to us a lot of great resources, and these are the types of projects that they would love to get involved with from the beginning. So I don't mind, I can send you the contact of the CEO, he's great, and just have a conversation with him and check out some of the programs that they have.
That would be fantastic. Thank you, Michelle.
Any other questions, comments?
And can I make just one comment?
Please.
And maybe Brian, this is a good tee up to your next speaker, but I just wanted to mention that, you know, as a part of all of the work that Carlos and Dory talked about, MCB has been working really closely with both the administration and members of the county council. Ken Hartman, the county executive, is really excited about the project and has been very helpful and have been good partners. And Kristen Mink, who is the district council members, but other members of the council as well, have been very helpful and supportive. And so I wanted to mention that, knowing, Brian, that you mentioned Ken as the next speaker.
Yeah, for those who missed that at the top, I think it's June 12th at 8:30 a.m. The next meeting of the Economic Development Committee will feature Ken Hartman, who is the Assistant Chief Administrative Officer for all things economic development. So he's fairly new on the job, but has been very busy in his early days. So I'm really interested to hear what the county executives' ideas are for economic development and how they're changing under Ken. So look forward to that.
And just so everyone knows, I just put my email in the chat and you received it twice because I accidentally direct messaged you first. But it's in there. You feel free to send any contact information or any further questions as well.
With that, Anne, any final thoughts or questions before we adjourn?
I just want to thank Carlos and Dory for a great presentation and for the great work that you're leading. This is massive. It is ambitious, but it's very exciting. And I think, you know, someone told me one time that, you know, you gotta take big risks. You gotta take big shots to really hit it. And I think Montgomery County has so many things in place for so much possibilities. We're like this chess set with all the pieces shimmering. We need some connective tissue on some of these. And so something like Viva White Oak is really a great opportunity to start knitting together some of these possibilities in really key areas. It's very exciting to see Montgomery College so nearby, Adventist Healthcare, the FDA, all of the strategic pieces you've thought of, and we'll be excited to watch this grow and develop and continue to see how the chamber can be a supportive and a source of information as well. So thank you both very much.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna try to give my screen one last try. Thank you as well. And again, I put my email in the chat, but feel free to start with Dory. You can also try to find me. We're always open to, having discussions, receiving information. We really would like feedback now, since we are in the very beginning of this in the MCB process. Getting early feedback and early collaboration is only going to help us as developers and help us bring a tremendous project to fruition. So we really thank you. And again, hopefully you'll have us back again, and we would love to give more updates as we go along in this process.
And with that, Ann, I think we are adjourned. Again, thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Dory, for a wonderful presentation, and you really drew a big crowd today. We appreciate all that you're doing. And thank you, Ann, for leading this committee. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Have a great morning, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian.